we've got a new clubhouse leader for Game of the Year. What we saw last night was it. Game of the Year.
I got to give the Browns props here, especially Baker Mayfield. If there was ever a day that Mrs. Baker Mayfield should be tweeting, it's this morning, because that performance last night was spectacular.
Congratulations to the NFL for getting 14 weeks in. Congratulations to everyone involved for giving us a game that was the most entertaining regular season game since Rams-Chiefs, November 19 of 2018.
Yeah, what's up guys? I'm Dave, this is my channel, X&O's TV, and today we're breaking down that epic Monday Night Football game, the Ravens against the Browns. So on Monday night, I'm watching the game, and I was editing another video to release later in the week. But while the game was going on, I couldn't even focus. I had to sit down and watch the game, and by the end of it, I scrapped that video and decided to release this video instead. Now, honestly, I didn't expect the game to go that way. I thought it'd be like this low-scoring, boring kind of defensive game, and so did Vegas. Vegas had the point total at 44, which is low. So, what happened? How did the final score end up being 47-42? That's what we're going to look at today when we check out the film in 3. So we're going to break down Cleveland's offense first. They have the best running backs and probably a top 3 offensive line in the NFL. So I'll break down one of their rushing plays, but obviously everyone knows this team can run the ball very effectively, and most of it has to do with their personnel. Cleveland wants to pound the ball at you using more traditional sets, 11 personnel, 12 personnel, and then pass the ball using play action. So here you have a basic halfback ISO. Baker's going to motion over Jarvis Landry. The whole point is to get your defense in tight. Okay, so the blocking concept is pretty basic. The right guard and the right tackle are going to deuce block and work their way up to the backside linebacker, number 40. The fullback is in the ISO block against number 58, and there's going to be a giant hole. Nick Chubb's going to use a little bit of patience. He's basically untouched to the end zone. Plays like this is what sets up Cleveland's passing attack. So the reason I showed the run play first is because Cleveland's passing attack is dependent on their ability to run the football. The main reason for Cleveland putting up 42 points in this game is because Baltimore was scared shitless of the Browns' rushing attack. This is the second play from scrimmage. Baker's going to start under center, then he's going to motion to the gun. He's going to use play action, which pulls the linebackers up to fill any gaps, but instead of throwing it deep, it's just a tight end screen. The Ravens don't expect it. It goes for over 20 yards. These two teams have played before. They know each other's tendencies, and I thought this first drive really set the tone for the rest of the game. So another example here, the Browns come out in a heavy set with 3 tight ends. The Ravens are going to counter with their base 3-4-D, and they're going to be running a cover 3. Now, the Browns are running play action, and they're max protecting on this play because they have 2 very, very deep flag routes. Now, during the play action, it's going to pull all these linebackers up, and what that's going to do is that's going to put Marcus Peters here, the cornerback, in conflict. He has to cover 2 guys, and on this play, I give Baker Mayfield all the credit. He hung in the pocket and made a beautiful throw to where only his guy could catch it. So this is my favorite play of the entire game. The Browns are going to come out in this tight bunch formation, and they're going to motion Kareem Hunt to the outside, which is going to get him one-on-one with a linebacker. I believe the Ravens are in a cover 1 here. I could be wrong. There was a little bit of miscommunication on the play, but I think it's a cover 1. But what's so cool about this play is that the Browns decide to keep their tight end and their wide receiver in the block. So instead of a 5-man protection, it's now a 7-man protection, which is going to give Kareem Hunt plenty of time to get down the field on this slow developing double move. That tells me that this was the primary read the entire time. So not only is it a beautiful throw by Baker Mayfield, it's an even better design by Kevin Stefanski. So the last couple plays we'll look at really shows off Baker's mobility inside the pocket, and I think it's really important if you want to explain how the Browns were able to score so many points against the Ravens. Here the Ravens have a cover 1, And the Browns are going to be running this skinny post on the right with a wheel route on the left. Now, what's going to happen is this wheel route's going to be open, but for some reason he just doesn't throw it, and the Ravens are going to get pressure up the middle. He's going to roll to his right and get outside this pocket, and this corner is going to slip. And it's kind of lucky, but it just shows off what he does best, which is extending the play. Now, from this view, you can really see it. It's sort of like Lamar Jackson, who's super athletic and slippery. Obviously, to a lesser extent, Baker's more of a squirmer. But if you let this guy get outside the pocket, he has an absolute cannon. This was the Browns' last touchdown on the night. The Ravens are sending a 6-man blitz, and the Browns are running these outside fades on the perimeter. Again, I thought this had a chance. He ends up pulling it down, though. He scrambles to his right, somehow avoids a sack, and gets a touchdown. When people think of Baker in this offense, I don't believe they even consider his ability to extend plays. The truth is, he's not great at anticipating throws or reading coverages, so it's important to see plays like this, because I believe Baker's elusiveness inside the pocket combined with his arm strength and accuracy on the outside of the pocket is truly what makes him so dangerous. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the Ravens' run game. Obviously, the run game's dominant. This offense has evolved over the last couple years from basic read option concepts to using more power and counter read option. This style utilizes misdirection more to get favorable numbers within the box. So here you'll see Lamar, he's going to motion over his tight end, and the defense has to respect that because right now they have a numbers advantage with 8, but with Mark Andrews coming over, now it's 8 on 8. You don't want that. You want it 9 on 8. So he's going to come over. Now it's 9 on 8. And basically the play they're going to run is a halfback dive with a quarterback power. It's just a mesh dive with a quarterback power. The left side of the line, they're going to block their guys down. And then on the right side, you have a deuce block between the right guard and the right tackle. That right tackle is going to peel off and seal that linebacker. And then you have 2 pullers, the fullback and the tight end, and their job is just to come through that hole and kick out the first person they see. I'm going to run it through, and Lamar's job is to read this guy on the end of the line. He can either hand this ball off to J.K. Dobbins, or he can pull it and follow his blockers. So he'll stick that ball in there, but then he'll pull it at the last second just to get that guy stepping the wrong way, then he's going to bounce it outside. Now you have Lamar Jackson in space, which is just an absolute nightmare for any defense. He jukes this guy out, and now he's off for a 20-yard rip. It's kind of unfair. This is just another example of the different running concepts the Ravens use. It's very difficult for opposing defenses to get enough defenders inside the box without opening up everything over top. So similar to the last play, Lamar's going to motion his wide receiver over, and the blocking concept's very similar. It's a power. You're going to have a pulling guard. You're going to have a double team between the right guard and the right tackle on the defensive tackle. Lamar's job is to read number 44, and number 44's job is to read Lamar Jackson. It's his responsibility to make sure Lamar does not get outside. But what this does is this gives Baltimore a numbers advantage. They have 8 blockers against 7 defenders, which allows JK 5 yards up the field before he's even touched. Okay, so instead of a power, we have a counter run this time. So the Ravens have been hammering Cleveland with their power plays all night, prepping them for this misdirection. It's very similar to what quarterbacks do in the passing game. They throw quick outs, quick slants all night, then when the defense isn't expecting it, you hit them over the top with a double move for an explosive play or a touchdown. So the Ravens are going to start out empty. He's going to motion JK over, and the blocking concept is going to look very similar to the previous power plays. What you have here is you have a double team on the D tackles. Your left guard's going to pull, your left tackle's going to pull, and it looks exactly the same, right? But instead, it's going to the other side. So Lamar's going to read Myles Garrett. If Myles takes the running back, Lamar is going to keep it. If Myles takes Lamar, then obviously he hands it off to JK. But I want you to pay attention to the linebackers. The linebackers are all going to flow to the left because they've seen this play a million times already. They know that the run's going to the left, but instead, Lamar takes it to the right. He's got one-on-one with the safety, and it's a huge game for, I think it was like 30 yards. It just adds another dimension to this running game and another issue for Cleveland. So now we're going to break down the Ravens' passing offense. They were having a lot of trouble early in the season because they tried evolving Lamar into a pocket passer. Lamar is so talented at so many things, he doesn't need to have a 3-step drop game. And I think offensive coordinator Greg Romans found a way to work around that. Against Cleveland, the Ravens used long, developing passing concepts, 5-step dropbacks, which takes advantage of Baltimore's speedy receiving core, and by sending everyone downfield, it allows Lamar to find more space when he decides to tuck and run. Plus, Lamar has a great deep ball. He just struggles with short and intermediate accuracy, and he struggles with reading coverages and the quick passing game. Okay, so the first play we'll look at, Cleveland is playing a cover 1. And the Ravens are all running out and ups with Willie Snead running a button route as a check down. The Browns cover really well, but their secondary is more than 20 yards down the field with no spy, leading to a first down for Lamar. So obviously, the Browns know Lamar is a threat to run, so they use a straight rush with their front 4. Each man has a lane and must stay in that lane so they can contain Lamar, but even with a great rush by the Browns, Lamar is still just too slippery and he picks up the first. This is the conflict that Greg Romans puts teams in. This play is another example of what I meant about Lamar's trouble reading intermediate coverages. The Browns are rushing forward, but they're disguising it. The Ravens have 2 deep comebacks with a deep in over the middle, and the Browns have a cover 4 on the back end. Now, the Ravens max protected on this play because it's 3rd and long right before the half. Lamar has the deep in over the middle for the first down, but he doesn't pull the trigger. Now, fortunately, he's really athletic. He avoids the rush somehow, and he spots Mark Andrews going deep. Again, he's got a great touch on the deep ball, fits it right between the corner and the safety for a huge play right before halftime. So we'll take another look at it because the angle wasn't great. But yeah, the throw's there, he just missed it. Fortunately, he didn't take a sack because then the Browns would get the ball right back with a chance to score. This is the upside of a 5-step drop back. It lets him play backyard football. So the last play we're going to look at for Baltimore is the game winner. Lamar just got back on the field because he missed most of the 4th quarter with cramps. So the Browns are running cover 0, they're blitzing 6, everyone's in man coverage. Now, I think the Ravens expected this because they literally run the perfect play. It's a mesh concept with a double move to Hollywood, and you'll see because of the man coverage, the Browns are all going to run into each other, and that's going to free up Hollywood down the field, up the seam, and Lamar's going to hit him for the touchdown. But this play was possible because of Lamar's mobility and quick decision to scramble out of the pocket and extend the play. In conclusion, the reason this game is being considered game of the year, so far at least, is because you have 2 division rivals whose quarterbacks were at their absolute best that night. The Ravens fighting for their playoff lives, and the Browns fighting for the respect that they've earned this year. Add in a little 4th quarter drama, and you have the recipe for an amazing game. Well, that's going to wrap up my breakdown this week. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.